Many people envision the life of a YouTube creator as one filled with glamour, adventure, and endless creativity. The reality, however, is quite different. For the majority of creators, for the 99% of them, it's often filled with challenges, loneliness, self-doubt, and failure after failure. Despite all these hurdles, starting a YouTube channel has been one of the best decisions I've ever made, because it's not about the money, the fame, or the status it gives me. It's more about the personal development and the lessons that I've gained along the way. Today, I want to share part of that journey through 4 distinct eras of my YouTube experience and how they have changed the way that I play the game of life. About 5 years ago, I hit 2 very important milestones in my life. I survived a 3-year-long long-distance relationship and finally got married to my wife, and I finally started my first job as an occupational therapist after 7 years of being in school. Now, these 2 goals took up the majority of my 20s. All my focus and attention was really going to them. And once I achieved them, for the next 2 years, I was absolutely happy and content. But then I started to realize one thing. I stopped challenging myself. There was no really big goals I was pushing for, because my goal at the time was to simply keep on working and making more money and simply keep on being a great husband, right? But there was nothing I was trying to challenge myself and put myself in uncomfortable situations for. With nothing to overcome, I started to lose that drive and excitement for the game of life. And don't get me wrong, I was still grateful for the life that I had, but I started to feel a loss. I started to feel like my growth was stagnating, like I wasn't sure what my next steps were. It was at this time that I had this bright idea that I should start a YouTube channel and start sharing my thoughts. My first experience with creating YouTube videos was a pretty daunting one. Speaking to a camera was like a foreign language. I had a lot of self-doubt and anxiety, and I was constantly questioning myself whether I was even good enough. Despite all that, I persevered. Week after week, month after month, I put out a video, sometimes even 2 a week, and something strange started to happen. I started to feel more content. I started to feel more excited for life, and I was wondering, why is that so? Because many people feel that they should live a life where they can kind of kick back and relax, go on vacation, just kind of work hard and rest. But here I am, kind of struggling week after week, trying to do something that is so difficult, something I'm failing all the time at. I put out some videos, it will get like 0 views, 1 view, 2 views, whatever it is, and there was simply not a lot of success in doing so. Despite all that, I still felt content. I felt excited to do so. And once I dissected this a little bit more, I started to figure out why. Because for most of my life, I was always focused on goals. I was focused on the outcome of my actions. For example, I would go to work and I was really focused on how much money I can make. I would go to school and I was focused on whether I can get that degree or not. But this time, when I started a YouTube channel, there was no real goal at the end. The only thing that I really had was the process of doing so, of slowly but surely getting better at doing the thing. And that was what was so addictive to me. And here's what I started to realize. When I start focusing more on the process, start enjoying the difficult things and how to slowly get better, it became a lot more exciting to do the thing. It became a lot more exciting to live life. When I focused more on the goals instead on the outcome of certain things, I started to feel a lot of anxiety. So this really trained me that consistency and simply focusing and enjoying the process was how I was going to live the rest of my life. Once I started to understand this, my life became a lot more exciting. I was constantly looking at how to get better and not so much of where the end is. And that was really one of the most important lessons that I've learned, at least in the first era of my YouTube journey. As my YouTube channel continued to grow, I started to face new challenges. The creative process, for one, was something that I constantly struggled with. While at the start of creating my channel, I was really excited. There were a lot of ideas to share. As I made video after video, I started to run out of things to say. I started to run out of ideas on what I'm going to be talking about. And this started to trickle down into the filming process, because oftentimes I would have to film 20 to 30 retakes on just a 1-minute video because I would trip on my ideas. I wasn't sure what to say, things didn't really make sense as I was presenting them, and this made it very, very difficult, a very tedious process to go through, and I knew there had to be a better way. At this time, I was following another YouTube creator called Dan Koe, and he had this course called the 2-Hour Writer, which basically teaches you the skills of writing. And when I took this course, I realized how powerful writing was, because what I realized was that I was learning a lot of things. I was reading books, I was watching podcasts, watching YouTube videos, but I wasn't really recording all these ideas down. But when I took this course, I realized that if I wanted to create content, if I wanted to develop my ideas further, I have to learn the skills of writing. So what I started to do was I started to write down ideas that kind of gave me that aha moment whenever I'm learning something. And with these ideas, I started to kind of sort them out a little bit more. How do I present it in a way that makes sense to me? How do I present it in a way that makes sense to the audience listening to me? And this kind of developed my skills a lot more, where I understood how to kind of I don't know how to present my ideas here. Sorry, let me see. This era of my YouTube journey was a really important one because it helped me kind of organize my thoughts and figure out how exactly am I going to share them to the audience. For one, I had to constantly educate myself, I had to learn more information, then I had to write them down to organize my thoughts, and then I had to figure out how to structure them in a way where I can present them that made sense to everybody. And this didn't just apply to YouTube because it started to apply to my job as well. I started to do the same thing with how I present my information as an occupational therapist. It presented in a way of how I communicated with my wife because I make sure I had to communicate things properly. I had to learn how to get better and all these kind of things. So this kind of translated to many different areas, and it all started by just me figuring out how to create content a lot better. It taught me that learning, writing, and then finally organizing the thoughts to presenting and communicating with someone is such a powerful tool that can be applied to so many different domains of life. After a year of consistent growth, I started to hit a plateau because the things that I was covering on my channel at the time, which is finances and cryptocurrency, wasn't something that I was so interested in covering and researching anymore. Despite all that, I would push myself to keep on putting content, but the more I did this, the more I started to feel burnt out. And this is a very common problem that most YouTube creators face. They kind of lock themselves into a niche and they keep on doing the thing, but they lose interest in actually doing the thing. So I knew that I had to make a change. If not, I would give up. I would stop creating because it just wasn't as fun anymore. Now, this period of stagnation was a really challenging one for me, but it led to one really crucial discovery, that if I were to create a YouTube channel, it has to reflect the values and things that I personally find interesting. And this is where I came across the concept of something called a personal brand. Now, in the YouTube world, you're going to find a lot of YouTube channels which is going to be on a very particular area or niche, and you probably follow them. But then you also find this subset of categories of channels which is simply just the name of somebody. Like, for example, my channel is titled Christian Wan because that's who I am, and it's basically a channel where I'm going to share things that I'm personally interested in. There's no specific niche I'm kind of covering or anything like that, because it gives me a way to kind of document all the experiences and skills and ideas that I'm learning, right? And this makes the whole process a lot more fun, because right now, whenever I'm reading a book or something like that, I'm not simply tied to one particular category. I can start learning about things like health, relationships, wealth, and this kind of opened up the door for me because it became an online journal for me to really document my thoughts, experiences, and skills. And if you really think about it, how does our world really run right now? It runs through the internet, and this is how people find opportunities. So if you can document your skills, your ideas, your experiences, who you are online, then wouldn't that give you better doors and better opportunities in the future? So once I started to do it this way, it became a lot more fun, but it did come at a cost, however. I did lose a lot of subscribers. I lost a lot of views because obviously this big change, people are going to be pretty thrown off. I'm not covering the things that they want to hear. But despite all that, I personally felt more content because I was covering things that I wanted to, and this made it a lot more fun. So at least what I learned here is that if you're creating content, you want to create content that you yourself are interested in. Because sure, views are nice, likes are nice, and all these things can be great. But if you yourself don't like the stuff that you are covering and you are sharing, then it's not going to be sustainable for the long term. Today, my channel has grown to over 20,000 subscribers, but that number means very little because very few of those people are still active viewers of the channel. So if you are here, thank you so much. My channel has really evolved to a platform for me to share the ideas, lessons, and just like things that I'm kind of learning about that's helping me level up through life and overcome all of life's obstacles. And I wanted to do this in a way where it would help the past me, someone who was confused, someone who was lost, someone who's just simply trying to figure out their way in life, and the things that I wish I knew when I was just a little younger. So I really truly hope that all the things that I share actually brings value to people, because I became an occupational therapist in the medical field because it gives me satisfaction to help other people, and I always thought that that was the only way to do so. But now that I realized that I can do the same through an online platform like YouTube or TikTok or whatever it is, I found kind of a new purpose in life. I wanted to figure out how I can constantly synthesize, make things as simple and actionable as possible, and kind of share it to the audience, to you watching this right now. So the lesson at least that I'm learning at this part in my life, this era of my YouTube journey, is how important it is to think about the value that you're providing to other people. Because as I'm continuing to making these YouTube videos, sure, I'm focusing on the editing, on making sure I'm kind of keeping your attention, but I'm also focused that you kind of take something away from watching these videos. If you're watching this entire video and you don't have a little aha moment or a lesson you can take away to apply to your own life, then I don't think I did my job that well. I need to kind of constantly refine my ideas so they get better and better and better. And I've applied this not just to YouTube, but to my career as well, and to my relationships, and to simply everything that I'm doing. It's important for us to be kind, to focus on helping other people, and to improve on the value that you're providing. At least that's what I'm doing, and this is giving me a lot more excitement and satisfaction to kind of play the game of life. That's about it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and go ahead and check out this video over here for more content just like this. As always, my name is Christian Wan. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the very next one. Later.